the thing like, if the slipper is upside down, it's pointing up towards God, was that I had a teacher in middle school saying that God's not real. Actually, that's the kind of thinking that made me think maybe we are all God. If we're all God, are we going to live forever? I was at the time a social Muslim, that you don't read the actual book, you don't follow the actual prophet. You just kind of follow what everyone else is. All the friends, family, cousins, and everybody around me was fasting. And I'd pray just because everyone else is praying near me too, but I never truly knew why I was praying. I was always raised upon the thing like, if the slipper is upside down, it's pointing up towards God. This is like, you're like saying God is only up and God can't see under these slippers. So if I go to my basement and close my door, then God can't see me commit. I was sent to a Islamic school, and I kind of like rejected like a lot of it during that time. They kind of really forced Islam down your throat type of school, and it was really, really strict. I would cry every single morning going to the school, be hugging my mom's leg to like not let me leave because I did not want to be away from her and into this school because it was very, very strict and stern. So by age 4 and 5 and 6, I kind of realized like I didn't want to be a part of something that was so scary and that was so strict. I started to deviate away from that, and what really kind of turned the tides and made me somewhat of an agnostic atheist for a little while was that I had a teacher in middle school, I'll never forget him, and he kind of explained to a classroom full of Muslims and Christians saying that God's not real, there's no empirical proof that you can prove God to me, so I don't want to believe in God. And he started asking 12-year-old kids, prove to me, why is God real? And all of us obviously being not educated enough on the top, so like to me, like this guy was the smartest guy that I knew. So I realized maybe God is not real, maybe this is all one big fairy tale lie so that people don't go around doing really bad. From my first year of like high school, I realized that maybe all of this like religion stuff is just some sort of like man-made thing to kind of control us, to make sure that we don't go and do bad stuff. If we really came from apes and it's being taught to us in school, and yeah, maybe we were once apes and we just kind of transitioned into human beings, and that's why we're here with no purpose, no guide, and no creator. So I kind of started to reject Islam, not only but all of religion, and I became somewhat agnostic during my younger years. I was doing a little bit of research independent from Islam, just to see if we actually do have a creator that has fashioned us. The thing that I was living by was that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. That's the first law of thermodynamics. And actually, that's the kind of thinking that made me think maybe we are all God. So that really kind of did make some sense to me, because if we're all God, where did we truly come from? Are we going to live forever? What if bad things happen? Should I feel the burden of pain if something bad happens to me or somebody else? And also, if we're all God, isn't that a limitation to what God is? Because we're obviously not infinite. We have a start. If God has a start, is he truly God? Then what created that thing? So all these questions were coming at me left and right, and I truly didn't have any true purpose. How could this thing be in such perfect order that it came from a little small seed? I would look at myself in my hands and think like, how am I actually alive right now? Where was I before this life, and where am I going to be after this life? But then when I looked into deeper of the thermodynamics, we have the second law, which states that entropy will continue to increase in energy. So disorder will continue to increase. For an example, let's say on the right side of this room in the corner, I place a little space heater and I let it run for like 1 hour and then turn it back off. The heat is not going to stay exactly in the corner of this room. It'll influence and balance the entire temperature of this entire room. That's how it works in the entire universe. From that, we can realize that if the universe has an end, then it has to have a beginning. And if something has a beginning, then it has to have a creator. This is why God is God, because God doesn't have a beginning or an end. Diving deeper into that, I realized that God has to, for one, not be bound by time and space and matter. He can't be hold down to these principles. He has to be above entropy, so he has to be above disorder, where he's not going to eventually get weak the same way that the universe is. He has to be self-sustaining, and that's exactly what Islam teaches. So I finally gave it a read. I let my ego down, and actually every page that I would turn, there'd be more and more miracles that just shocked me. How could someone have known 1,400 years ago that the universe is ever expanded there? All of the miracles in the Quran, it's all true. I was absolutely shocked that this whole time what I thought I was following was Islam was not Islam in the slightest. There's parts in the Quran where it teaches you to actually be a good person and to have these interactions with human beings. As I was reading the Quran, just a few times I was so stunned, I took my shahada. Was ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Alhamdulillah.